So on Nigeria, just wanted to ask you, do you envisage US boots on the ground?
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
That was President Trump last night on Air Force One talking about Nigeria. And as you heard, not ruling out sending American troops there. He is responding to claims on social media that Christians are being killed in large numbers. Those claims, though, have not been substantiated. And Nigerian officials say any unilateral American operation would violate their sovereignty. Joining us now, MSNBC Pentagon reporter Priya Sridhar. So, Priya, what exactly is he addressing here?
Well, that's a great question, Katie, and it's unclear exactly what prompted him to post this initially on Truth Social on Saturday, when he basically said that the Nigerian government had to stop the killing of innocent Christians, or else the United States would cut off aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that, quote, now disgraced country, guns a-blazing. He went on to say that he was going to instruct the Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. In response to that, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posted on X and said that the Department of War is preparing for action. And now it seems as though there's a social media conversation happening between all these world leaders, because Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, has also responded on social media saying that there is no religious persecution happening inside of his country. Nigeria is made up of 220 million people, and there's about half Christians and half Muslims inside of that country. But if you ask most security experts who are familiar with the region, they will tell you that a lot of these extremist groups that President Trump is referring to, like Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa, are killing Muslims and Christians equally. So it's unclear what exactly prompted this. We do know that Senator Ted Cruz last week talked about a Christian genocide in Nigeria at a Senate Foreign Affairs Relations Committee hearing. So that has prompted a lot of discussion about this topic online, Katie.
All right. There's also news about another strike in the Caribbean, and now also some reporting that Trump might be considering going into Mexico. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's right. So this is reporting coming from NBC News, according to two U.S. officials and two former senior U.S. officials who are saying that the Trump administration is now considering using military troops from a Joint Special Operations Command, in addition to intelligence officers inside of Mexico's borders, to use drones to take out drug cartel members, leaders, and drug labs. Now, this is a dramatic departure from the way the United States has worked with Mexico in the past against drug cartels. They have used the military and law enforcement agents and the CIA in conjunction with the Mexican army and local police there. And in the past, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has said that she appreciates the United States' support and assistance, but she wouldn't condone the United States coming in to her country to conduct any sort of operations without her guidance or knowledge. Very similar to what we are hearing from Nigerian leadership, who are saying, listen, Trump administration, you have to respect our territorial sovereignty, Katie.
Priya, thank you very much. Let's bring in Editor-in-Chief of Foreign Policy, Ravi Aggarwal. Ravi, let's start with Nigeria. What the heck is going on in Nigeria?
It's very unclear to me. I mean, as Priya just reported, I think some of this has begun from internet rumors about a quote unquote Christian genocide. And look, if anyone is killed of any religion, it is awful, of course. And I think the Nigerians have been so upfront about the fact that this killing on the part of terrorist groups in their country is something that they are deeply upset about, is something that they want to do more to combat. They are acknowledging their own failures to do so. But what they're trying very hard to make clear is that this is not religious based. There is such a complicated history in Nigeria. The north is mostly Muslim, the south is mostly Christian. There is all kinds of colonial things that go into the very deep-seated problems Nigeria has. My sense is that Trump's messages on this are not taking any of that into account and really goes into a real contradictory element of his foreign policy, which on the one hand was to not meddle in other countries' businesses, and yet to do so if it is a manifestation of what he thinks is America first.
All right, let's talk about cartels. We've already heard the administration justify these unilateral strikes in the Caribbean as necessary because they're combating drugs that are trying to come into the United States. Now they're talking about Mexico. Mexico does have a very big problem with cartels. It's been an issue with the government down there as well. What would it mean for the United States if they did plan on doing this or do it to try to go into Mexico?
I mean, this, again, like Nigeria, would be seen as a serious violation of Mexico's sovereignty. These are big, proud economies. Nigeria, 220 million people, GDP per capita of $6,500 a year. Mexico, GDP per capita around about China's, by the way. These are not countries that just want to be taken to be belittled in the way that these policies would suggest. Look, it is a serious problem, the drug cartel problem, the drugs issue, and I think Trump is right to find ways to address it. However, doing so in violation of Mexico's sovereignty, and again, with no clear description of what the imminent threat is. There are other ways to go about this, as America has in the past, but I think much of Latin America would really be very upset if they were to go through with what they're describing.
It is November. We're now 10 months, solidly 10 months into Donald Trump's second administration. I wonder if you have a good idea of how world leaders are currently assessing him and how they plan to go about these next 3 years.
I think there's a mix. Countries that are small or really need the United States and don't have too many cards to play, they're trying a mix of flattery and bribery. Countries that are bigger and actually have a lot up their arsenal are standing tall and tough. I mean, look at China and its ability to use its monopoly over rare earths to say, you know what, we're going to fight back. Look at Brazil, which is taking a much more principled stance to fight against climate change, leadership in the global south. Look at India, by the way, which is very upset with Trump. The whole country seems to have turned away from America because they don't like the tariffs. They don't like the way Trump is treating them. Different countries are finding a range of options with which to navigate Trump, and much of it has to do with their size, their salience, the cards they have in a very transactional world. But Katie, spare thought for the countries that actually have no cards to play. Smaller countries, think of, for example, Sri Lanka or Somalia, countries that relied on a rules-based order. For them, those are the countries I worry about the most because they don't have the clout to play a very transactional might is right world.
Yeah, getting lost in the mix of it or getting overtaken or taken advantage of. Ravi Agarwal, thank you so much.